Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Options Mentor. How about that day on Friday? Was that crazy or what? With the market at one point way down and then up off 100 or so, or close to it, up from where it actually started the day. It was, or was at the lowest part of the day. Absolute craziness with the dip buying that went on there, and a lot of erratic movement all week long. Now, this week we have coming up is just jam-packed with different types of news. We have a lot of reports. We have an employment report on Thursday, a PMI on Friday, various other reports before that, and a big one, the FOMC minutes from the last meeting, will be Wednesday afternoon. And we also have a smattering of Fed speakers. So there's all kinds of things, as this will be a very busy week as we get into next week, which is Thanksgiving here in the US. The week after this one, you will have a lot less going on, of course, and a volume will, I would assume, go down. So let's start by looking at the VIX chart at what's been going on with volatility. Now, if we look at this, we can see we've got a little bit of a spike going on here in volatility. Currently, it's at 1983. It was up even higher earlier, and it spiked up high a few days before that. So volatility's on the higher end of the spectrum. If you look at where we're at relative to where we've been, look, you can tell that, right? Most of the time we've been down in here. Yes, we've had spikes up in this area. But since May, we haven't been up. If you just look above the line here, we haven't been up above here very often. So, chances are, since the VIX is a mean reverting index generally, we will end up many times going back down. Maybe a little more rallying or distension coming out of the market. We'll have to see. But we want to do a trade, in my mind, that doesn't take quite as many volatility chances. Now, there's different ways you can do that. You could mute your volatility, or you could do things like a double fly, which is what I'm going to talk about here. So a double fly involves putting on a call fly above the market. Usually go up 60, 70 points. In this case, I went up, yeah, about not quite 70 points up. And then we went down around 70 points to 6660 for the center of the put fly. 6800 is the center of the call fly. And then I went up 80 and down 90 from the center of each of those flies. That's how we came about this. So we started here, got this call fly on, and then I'm just going to look at them independently. You can see the put fly here. Now you put the two together, they connect in the center. This could be a connection a little below the zero line. Certainly, there's nothing wrong with it being above it, but you can make money in the center even if it's a little bit below that. In fact, you can kind of see that. Look what happens if I advance the timeline. As we go forward just in time, you can see you can make more money in the center of this trade at a certain point in this trade than you could at expiration. So that's kind of an interesting point, but it is true. So let's go back here to today, this is Sunday the 16th. So I'm talking about this trade maybe being an idea for Monday the 17th. Definitely you want to adjust this fly where it's placed to wherever we're trading at the time, right? So if we open up tomorrow 30 points higher and maybe stay there, you want to put this on later in the day, well, then you're going to have to move all these things up 30 points, right? If we were 30 higher or 30 lower, the opposite of that or whatever it may be. So you want to adapt your fly to wherever we're trading if you want to do this. Now, whenever we buy this fly, it's not the cheapest trade in the world. It is $1,800 for the call fly, 1810 here. And for the put fly, you see you have a small debit of 505, but you do have the margin because they count it as a vertical credit spread and debit spread when you do an unbalanced asymmetrical put butterfly. So you got margin, but $995, $500 were around 1,400 for the put fly, 1,800 for the call fly is what it would be. Now you have to put these on as two separate trades. And what I'd be looking to get here is maybe 10% of the total I have in a trade, which would be, what is it, roughly $3,200. So if you got up maybe around 300 or close to it, You saw that in your P&L open that I'm up that amount. Then what I would do is put it in order to sell each of them at the mid. I don't like to try to, I guess you could call it game the thing where, oh, we're up right now. I'll sell the call fly and then we'll go back down later and sell the put fly. For one, how do you know that? Unless you have a crystal ball, you don't know if we're going to go up or down that same day. And you certainly wouldn't want to do things different days, right? You wouldn't want to go, hey, we're up today. I got a 8 or 10 in the call fly, I'll take it off. And then when I get 8 or 10, we go back down here in the put fly, I'll take it off. You can't count on that. So you have to see this trade as one big unit, even though you put it on as two separate setups, right? You got a call fly, a put fly. This is really one trade. And so you're looking at what it's making together. And once you have around that 8 or 10% or whatever you want to use for a profit goal of what you paid for it, when you have that number showing up in your P&L open here. By the way, a lot of people ask me about P&L day if you have this platform. Well, to me, it's useless. I just disregard it. P&L open is what you have made in the trade since it started if you could get closed at the mid price. So if it says you're up $100 on P&L open, that means if you could close each of these flies at what the current mid price is, you'd be up $100. Now we all know that moves around, so you got to be a little careful with that. For instance, if I was looking for a $300 profit, I probably want to see this P&L open kind of reliably staying a little bit above that 320, 330. And when it always bounces around. It could dip currently under that and then above it. But if you're seeing the preponderance of the mid prices keeping you above 300, then that's when I go for an exit. And it's quite simple. Put in an order for this at the mid, put in an order for this at the mid, or the other way around. Boom, boom. Both of these orders are on probably within 30 seconds of each other or less. I'm not trying, like I said, to hope I can get one off and get a pullback or whatever and get the other one off. No, you take them both off. Now, it will be the case many times that whenever you take these off, that whichever one is closer to will probably fill faster. If we're up in here when you have 10% on the total of both of them, if you put both orders in, this will probably get filled quicker because it's closer to where we're trading. And you may have a little slippage down here. Same thing in reverse. If we're down here, you could have a little slippage on getting rid of this, but that's all part of it. But you still put those orders in together. And of course, that slippage is why I recommend you try to see it trading pretty consistently above your profit goal so that when you do this, you can minimize that chance of slipping and being, significantly lower than what you hoped for a profit. But that is the trade I think looks good for this week. Will be a little short volatility. That doesn't concern me at all. In this case, you can see you're short about 112 on the volatility or Vega, meaning if 1 point of volatility goes in your favor, volatility goes down 1 point in your favor, that P&L would reflect $112 higher. And if it goes up a point, which would be against you because you're short, that would be in your P&L $100 less. And it just bounces around. It's not, of course, realized until you take the trade off. But volatility dropping would help this trade. Volatility going up could potentially hurt the trade. However, I have found with butterflies that they have probably of the trades I do, diagonals, counters, butterflies, they have really the least reaction to volatility going really for or against them. You'll certainly see it, but it's usually not in a big way like in a calendar. Volatility goes for or against you. It can be pretty significant difference in your P&L and in diagonals also. But a fly is a little different than that. I see flies mainly as just a range trade more than a volatility trade. I don't mind being short here because we are a little high, but really you just want this thing to stay in this rather large range you have here. I like to say it's rather large, but with this market, you know how that is. But basically, your lower break even is about 130 points below where we're trading, if you put it on here. Your upper break even is about 130 points above where we're trading. So it does give you some range there. We can take that going up here and going all the way back down here or vice versa. That's what you need. In this market, I can't imagine trading any trade that doesn't have a lot of range to it because you're just going to get spanked. It's hard enough as it is, even with a wide trade. But if you had a very narrow, say you put on a single fly, 80 up, 90 down, or 90 up, 100 down, whatever it is, it's going to be real tough to stay in that range. So that's what I'm thinking here. This is the only way I do butterflies anymore is either a double butterfly or part of another complex, a double butterfly, a butterfly calendar, or a butterfly diagonal. I don't do single flies anymore. It's just, to me, untenable unless you want to get some really crazy, wide, very expensive fly. I think you're better off to do this, even though it does involve putting two separate trades on and taking it off as two separate trades because there's too many legs, more than four legs. They don't do that in trades. Maybe a isolated brokerage does, but most have a four-leg limit, and this would be six. So that's what I have this week, folks. Hey, don't forget, I just put out a new course that updates all the strategies I use, all the changes that have been made in 2025, a lot of changes to how we repair trades and risk management in general, as well as a review of how you even set them up in the first place. So that's all in one big course. The link for it's in the description. It's called Update 2025, along with all my other courses. You also see my email in there if you want to get some one-on-one mentoring. Just contact me at that email. I'll tell you how that works to have mentoring just you and I and what that can do for you. All right. That's what I have. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe here. I appreciate you guys. And I will be back with you next week. That week right before Thanksgiving here in the U.S. We'll see what's looking good then. Have a great week, everyone. Bye bye.